The second of two public meetings into Havelock North's water contamination crisis is about to get underway. More than 5,000 people have fallen ill with the gastrobug since the crisis began almost 3 weeks ago. Our reporter Michael Cropp is there. Michael, this is the second night in a row. Pretty big turnout last night, a few hundred. How many people have turned out for tonight's meeting?
Good evening, John. It looks about 200 people have turned up so far tonight. Not as many as the 400 that I think turned up last night. However, cars are still pulling into the car park behind me. But the mood tonight is a little bit different. So last night there was this real palpable sense of inquisitiveness. It was their first chance to hear directly from their local leaders, their health authorities. But tonight, some people, I saw some faces that I saw yesterday, so it's like they've come back for a second bite at the cherry, if you want to use that phrase. But there are some new faces, and then talking with people on the street, there were people who watched the live stream as well.
Who will be speaking? Is it going to be the same lineup as last night, or do we expect some new information from some new speakers?
The same people will be speaking, so it's effectively a repeat of last night's meeting, so the same PowerPoint presentations. I expect that we'll hear Lawrence Yuille apologise again for the misery of this horrible illness. And then just to hand, the council has put out a release saying that they will not be able to lift the boil water notice tomorrow. They say that they need at least 3 days worth of clear results. So this is about the flushing of the Brookvale bore water from Havelock North's water system. So over the past week or so, or maybe a bit longer, they've been using Hastings' water to flush the mains pipes throughout Havelock North, and they say that they're still able to detect the old Brookvale bore water, that's the contaminated water. They're still able to detect that in the pipes. So as long as they can detect that, they won't be able to lift that boil water notice. And then, of course, they need 3 days of clear results. Also here tonight, I just saw Meka Whaitere walking in. She's the Labour Party's local government spokesperson and also the Māori electorate MP around here, and also the Green Party's Catherine Delahunty and Kevin Haig. The Green Party particularly wants the government's inquiry to look at land use and how it's affecting water quality.
Michael, you've been talking to people, residents, members of the community. What are they saying?
So just in the last few hours, we went back into Havelock North Township and we spoke with cafe owner, people on the street, to see what the mood was like, and they're still pretty disappointed, to be honest. Amanda Cobham at Kobana, a cafe, she talked about how the financial loss has been so severe that she's been cutting staff. She's now working 7 days a week. She gets to work at about 7:45. She's got young children. She works until 5. She's lost a kitchen hand. She's had to lay off her weekend staff, and then the remaining baristas, people like that, are having to take days off during the week so that they can now work the weekend. Another person, Kate Roundtree, she really criticised the lack of communication from the council, and that when questions are asked, particularly by the public, that they get quite defensive. And then earlier today we spoke to Jessica Maxwell, who was quite disappointed. She was at last night's meeting, but she was disappointed that her question wasn't answered properly.
Well, I just mentioned, first of all, that I had written to council before they had their closed-door meeting to suggest that each household would be given a $200 reimbursement payment, because a lot of people, it's really only a token gesture because a lot of people are out a lot more than that, but I thought a token gesture of $200 per household would be welcomed by many people to help offset the costs that they had incurred buying a whole lot of extra things that they wouldn't have otherwise needed. But my second question, which I was really disappointed that I didn't receive an answer to, I directed to our local MP, Craig Foss. And that was because I really feel that the compensation on offer is woefully inadequate. And just for example, I was speaking to a part-time cook, and she said that she worked casual. She was out $400 that week because she wasn't called in. I've spoken to a couple of school principals in Hastings. They had to employ relief teachers because the Havelock North staff were off sick. So for 3 days for a relief teacher was $900. Now, how are those people going to get reimbursed for that? Because my understanding was that if Dr. Coleman, the Minister of Health, had declared a medical emergency, that would have opened up a whole range of support services and mechanisms for businesses and individuals to apply for insurance cover and also for compensation.
And so notably, Craig Foss didn't respond to that, and in fact your question was effectively skipped over.
It was.
Were you pretty upset by that?
Well, I was, and I actually emailed him when I got home and told him in very frank terms that I was very disappointed. I said he'd been asked one question and he had declined to answer it. He didn't even hold on to the microphone or stand up or attempt to answer it.
Just finally, you are going back to this meeting tonight. Why?
Yes, well, my neighbours said that they would like to go, and I thought I would like to go back and see if there are any more interesting questions or any better answers, basically. But I think really the people have lost confidence in the water and they've lost confidence in the local authorities.
It's Jessica Max talking to Michael Cropp.